I was saying that we have a brother here who was active and stayed active in the Black Power struggle in Trinidad and Tobago, which would have been started in 1970. Well, come to a height in 1970. So today, that's 54 years. For me, the reason why I like this topic and I like to deal with people who was around this topic is because it's a topic that is played down. It's a topic that we should show about. We give 2 minutes. And then that is the end of that. Not realizing what it did for us. And something I just make sure and put in to the people who want to bring politics into it. Remember, 1970 happened just 8 years
after independence.
So that says that the people and them that was claiming to be for the country and the citizens of the country, including the African citizens of the country, was still holding on to the colonial ways of doing things so much that
in many ways they're still holding on to the same European view of the world.
So with that said, now we welcome brother Kamose. I say right? Kamose. Brother, welcome.
Welcome. Good to be with you all.
For me, it's always a big thing. So tell you a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So let me say welcome to the other brothers and sisters who are listening on to us. Online, right.
Of course.
I'm a techno present, so some of these the terminology.
Yes.
Would escape me. Some of the brothers and sisters who are online, and those who are going to know what it later on. Welcome.
Yes, man.
My name is Kamose. Let me just say that I discarded the slave master's name in 1976, and I chose my name.
All right.
Good. So that happened. And from then, from 1970 till now, I've been involved in the struggle for liberation for ourselves. And it's not just that liberation we talk about guns and so on. It's liberation from the mind. It's a cultural liberation that we're talking about.
Yes.
Good. As America Cabral would say, our revolutions are first and foremost cultural revolutions.
Right.
Because we have to find ourselves. We have to get back to ourselves.
Yes.
We are too far away out of ourselves, and therefore people could do anything with us. But once we know ourselves and we know where we came from and where we want to go, then that's where we could plan properly and execute appropriately and so on.
Right.
So that's where we have been involved in. I began as a student from that time to the Belmont Secondary, is now called St. Francis College.
Yeah.
And
I was on the choking here to me, that was a backward step, but there you go. Look at that.
I don't really have any particular view on it. No. Not that I see it as any big positive thing either. But
I feel it.
And yes, I've been involved with the student movement then called NORS, National Organization of Revolutionary Students.
Right.
Then later became involved in what we call the senior body, which would be the NJAC.
Right.
And from there, the activities the involvement rather just kept getting more intense and so on. And then I eventually, stopped functioning at NJAC, let me call it that, and joined the Emancipation Support Committee.
Okay.
Functioned with the ESC for quite a while too. Eventually I stopped functioning with the ESC. But let me just clarify the stop functioning thing. Because the brothers of those times, both the NJAC time and the ESC time, we still do very well.
Right.
And so I can go and talk with them, they can talk to me, ask me to do anything they feel I can do for them and so on. Or with them, let me call it that. But more importantly, I have not given up on the principles of both organizations at the time I was involved in.
Right.
So you're not going to find me criticizing NJAC or criticizing the ESC.
For sure.
Because at that time I was heavily involved, and it doesn't mean that because I'm no longer involved that they suddenly become not good.
Yeah.
Just they're not doing their work. And some of them will criticize and move on Lavantel and say that's so much killing and that kind of thing. I said, well, listen, as far as I'm concerned, Mova is the best part of Trinidad. Because at any time of the night or the day, I can walk to Mova and Laventil without feeling threatened.
Yeah.
You know, if I go Pinal, I'm likely to get killed. If I go Arima, I'm likely to get killed. I go Marval, you know, all those areas people wouldn't know me, so the figure is, you know, looking like some bandit and some cold police or take pot shots at me just so as has happened in some parts of Westmoreland at times. You know? So as far as I'm concerned, Mova is the best part of Trinidad, and I maintain that right now.
All right. Born and raised? You're born and raised in Mova?
No, I'm born in Aruka. In fact, when they opened Chinapoo Primary School in that, you know, but the year they opened that, I went to that school.
Right.
Yeah. So I spent my
I think that everybody should feel that way about the community that they're born and growing.
Yes.
And feeling that way will help bring a certain kind of pride, but not what we see today in terms of with the violence.
Right.
Until we talking about wanting to do better for the place you live. You know, I think we should all have that about it. I mean, that's how I feel about Sabah. Until I born.
Yeah.
You know,
and Laventil for me.
The times that I had as a youth man growing up, I feel sorry in a way that plenty of the children today can experience that living in certain parts now. As in, come outside, go 2 houses down, call Karen, come outside. What you doing, boy? We're going by ex-boy. Ex living 5 streets away. When we walking off now, Karen mother ball, where are they going? Until she going by ex. She's like, all right, okay, because why?
She know
ex and ex family. And the community do have that kind of vibes now. So we go in there, we gonna play some kind of thing. I say, boy, what we know now, I mean, we didn't know at the time when we were participating, it's like pitching. Let's bring people together, yo.
Yeah.
Which man, because there's only a certain amount of people go play depending on what type of pitch you're playing. I remember big men, we 14 and 15-year-old and big 30-year-old men and thing on the sideline waiting to play. So who lost? The last 2 people, the last person get Boki and somebody else coming. We didn't understand at the time that I was building camaraderie. So last week I see one of them same big men. And I could tell we in a business place, I sit down waiting. A woman come in first. She watched me. And just like how some people go on today because of the whole world, she bad and she looking around and she talking to me. In my mind, I laughing because I don't think I looking threatening in any kind of way. But we living in such a suspicious world.
No,
Mom, I didn't see him. He come in here, I look up, I see him. I get up and greet him. The way that we greet one another, and then he started to ask me about my mother, my father, my brothers and sisters.
Then she relaxed.
The whole continent just changed. Right? And that's why I say I kind of sad for the youth and them that not getting to experience that. You know, we and as parents, somehow we encouraging them. It had no socializing and saying, "Long here playing something here," and somebody in Valencia playing the same thing, and we talking. It had no socializing in that.
No matter what they say.
No matter what they say. And that is a part of me when I look at it that led to children taking part in 1970. We still had communities, so we are you three away from the same place and we sit down talking. And think I'm going to and I agree with Makemane and Makana. I agree with thinking and share we like, let me go down.
Yes.
Because we had that same kind of community now because my father tell me he's 8 or 9 years old and run away to go and march. Run away.
But she said he was in Form 4. When you joined.
And that same event that I tell you would have more likely that's one of the places we meet up.
Josan, yes.
Come and talk about that too, quite have a picture. She big on the front page in
school
uniform, protesting. And they talk about that like So you would have been around that same age. But what experience was like for you at that age, right?
but let me put the experience in a social context, in a social context that I experienced that was my life then. So I suspect that my father is Chinese. That says one thing. Okay. And I didn't grow up with my mom. So I grew up with an adopted family.
Okay.
And you would hear me talking about Granny, this African lady who took me up from her. Yeah. And Granny was a staunch PNM.
Right.
Yeah. And so that in 1970, while I was drawn towards, I would be talking with some of my colleagues in school, which is an next issue. I was not on the streets like some of the other brothers and sisters. So I would have known Desmond Granger, Kirkland Paul, and them, and would be listening to them and understanding some of the things they said. And gravitating towards it because in 1962, the year of independence, I remember telling Granny, I wish she'd take me back and put me in her stomach and make me over and make me look like her. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. At that time too, in that particular time too, I was coming up to independence.
Yeah.
I used to wish that Eric Williams had more power than Solomon Huchoy. Simply because in my little mind then, I saw Eric Williams as black and Huchoy as white.
Right.
And I wanted the black one to have more power than the white one. Yeah. And not that there was any discussion in our home about that. There was no kind of discussion.
Right.
But that just entered my little mind. And I would, was guided by that up to today. That kind of thinking. So like I tell people sometimes, I didn't become black in 1970. Right. I was black since then.
Right. Right.
So that's so in 1970, but even the social conditions we were living under then. So Granny and we were from a very poor family.
Right.
Yeah. We had a starter home in Cipriani Street, Cipriani Extension and over there that we couldn't maintain. And lots of days, let me look at the Christmas period. Many Christmases, we had no baking of cake and toys and that kind of thing, That's how poor we were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when going to Belmont Secondary, lots of days, I'll go to school, I should go to my stomach because Granny would not allow it to stay home. She didn't want the neighbors to know that we don't have anything.
Right.
So you go to school, and immediately as school over, you just come back home because you don't have energy.
Yeah.
And so lots of my colleagues and classmates rather, let me call it, and schoolmates, they wouldn't know my name because I never lied with them. I would know their names. Ron LaForey, Wayne Lois, Gregory Haley. I know these guys by their name.
Right.
And I know they were big in the school because of football and other sports. Oogies and them with rugby and so on and that kind of thing. But they wouldn't know me, so they just call me classmates and so on. Up to today, they call me classmates because we never lied. We never lied. So that is how the cookie crumble around me at that time. So there was no joining the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
see, chef inside, let's say the chef.
Which chef?
Chef
Damian.
Right, Bambi inside, let's say Mr. Davidson.
All right.
Cheryl and Rampi soon say Mr. Kamose school them. Right.
She said what?
Huh? Cheryl Ramkison. She said school us.
Yeah.
But that's what we bring him for, of course. That's what we bring him for. I want to pick your brains because it's years now we talking. And we've always wanted to get onto somebody who was involved with NJAC.
Actually, yeah.
To find out.
And I think, say, no here, you say that I feel kind of bad. Like, I know a few of them.
Yeah. Yeah, but everything, nothing before your time.
Exactly.
Nothing before your
time. Yeah, for sure.
So you was around 14 years old when this happened, right? What?
That's in Form 4.
From your eyes and your perspective, what was Trinidad like that you think a Black Power revolution was needed at that time?
At that time I wasn't paying attention to the politics of the country. Okay. That wasn't our discussion either in class or at home. Yeah. As a matter of fact, like I said, Granny was PNM, so it means that everybody else in the house except me
was PNM.
Yeah. And then at that time you couldn't even vote. So you were even thinking about that. Yeah. Granny dare not say that because it doesn't make sense. She's telling you that kind of thing. Yeah. Right. But in the classrooms, you're listening to things happening, the guys talking and so on, and you're saying, yes, this makes sense to me. At least I recognize that this made sense to me. This is the reality I was facing, and therefore I could have aligned myself with it in an appropriate way.
Right.
I couldn't go on the demonstration like I said, but I could defend the fact that my life and the lives of the people who lived with me in Mova and Belmont, reflected what NJAC was saying, what NJAC was demanding,
Right.
what Black Power was talking about.
Right.
We call it that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your match? Did you go to the match at all?
No,
You couldn't go.
no. I didn't have energy to go and play with one for in the savannah. I didn't have energy to walk and march.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Understood.
We're not Darlington. Okay, here in Arthur, yeah, blessings. Then we just jump a little bit, right? Because I want to hear some of your experiences with NJAC. But let we jump from, let we say the mid-1970s, 1975, when let me say, so it's like 1920 around that time, which is like 5 years after the revolution. What it was like, the changes that you saw, if it lasted, and then we jumping forward to today, if you see the need for NJAC, Emancipation Support Committee, what's the other? I don't know what, but the groups like that, if you see the need for them today.
When I was first given consideration to the exhibition, my partner, she said, we can discuss it. She said, but 1970 is relevant yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So she understood. Yeah, I'm either she's an Indian sister.
Right.
Good. So she understood what was going on with the society then and now.
Right.
So the idea of I need to reconnect with your question.
Pardon?
I need to reconnect with your question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right. So, we jumping from 1970 to let's say 1975. What life was like after the Black Power Revolution around that time, and from there we come into today. And is it relevant still today?
Oh, relevancy. Yes. Yeah. So I would have joined NJAC in 1971, the following year.
Right.
Good. And all the activities we're talking about and the need for the activities still existed.
Right.
We were still being colonized. Many of our people still see themselves as Negroes, and you still have to educate and talk to them about you're not a Negro. You need to find yourself. We need to find ourselves. So I only changed my name in 1976.
Right.
I was still going by my slave name.
Right.
And no, I was also called Cochise then, because my hair was long.
Right.
And sometimes I would take a band and band my hair so that people are looking like an Apache and so on. So that is how this name Cochise
Come
came
along.
about. Yeah, in fact, some people still call me Cochise because they don't know that since they last saw me, I would have changed in different ways and so on. Yeah.
Okay.
And so what was happening between 1971 and 1976 when I changed my name? We still had the colonial kind of mentality going on.
Right.
Yeah. We still had, like I say, calling ourselves Negro, calling ourselves Coolie. The Indians shine away from the Africans, and the Africans in some ways condemning the Indians. And at some points even blaming the Indians for the conditions that Africans were experiencing, without realizing that there is that state of the society or the system we're functioning that was not our doing.
Right.
We didn't bring that system for ourselves.
Yep.
The whole question of independence, like a point I was making in the exhibition, good? And I think this independence talk is a hoax. I think it is a hoax. Yeah. Because seriously, I think that instead of we getting independence from Britain, Britain got independence from us. Britain freed herself from us, and make us feel she is given independence. you know. And when I look at, not in depth, you know, as an academic or a scholar, when I look at what's going on, each of Britain's former colonies who got independent in the 60s and so on, they have similar constitution, if not the same constitution, it's just a comma change and that kind of thing. Good?
Copy and paste.
Yeah, they still have the same parliament and cabinet and house of parliament representatives and so on. Yeah. So it was easy for Britain to say, you know, let me just give them independence. It's nothing taken from us.
Yeah. And nothing is changing.
Yeah, because they had already entrenched a system that we are still following up to today. You know, we're still following that system up to today. Good. So when we see our PM and the fellas in the judiciary, you know, wearing this white wig and so on, it's not us. We're following a system that Britain imposed on us, that Britain follows up to today. You know.
You say that, eh? And I laugh. I always remember when the man in Tobago, why doesn't get them the luxury on this program, I call him the name. But the politician in Tobago, when he went just about 2-3 years ago, one of the first things he wanted to change was the dress code. The dress code of, I was telling you, you can't come just like that in a government office to do business now. Right? Like, but he come in here to pay we something or to check something or to do something. Why that is an issue. I remember people from the Red Party say, would I wear shipping is but he went ahead and implemented.
Fast forward.
Let that time pass, and then them start to do the same thing. Because I tell them, I just say just now, we always discuss that in here, it's still a rare plenty colonial ideas here. And the people that hold on to it the most are the people that benefit from it. Mainly the politicians.
Yeah, those in authority.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I tell them, of course you're going to enforce a certain dress code. If you feel this thing choking up in your neck here, and the thing covering it is the real, of course you're going to enforce and push that. I remember working in a phone company and they mommy wear tie and thing, and I was like, cell phone now? In Trinidad and Tobago? Right? And while some people is try to be measured and more is close all the talk about, yes. I said, boy, we could go further, you know, we go further. I see it come up yesterday, I had to share it back. Everybody pro-black until they bring up religion.
That's
everybody, yes, I black and I proud. As you tell them, well, you can't be a proud and black man and have a white man hanging over your door as your Lord and Savior. That's the same colonization that colonizes your spirituality, where you can even close your eyes and picture a deity looking like you.
As a matter of fact, they say that in the 60s, Ebony magazine printed a black Jesus.
I mean,
Ebony was big for everybody. Everybody, you know, buying an Ebony magazine. As soon as Ebony printed a black Jesus on the front cover of their picture, people started protest and, you know, began to say they'll stop subscribing to Ebony. And in fact, one woman actually sent a white Jesus photo for them.
Suppose.
Yeah, no, to print on the Ebony cover. Yeah.
But that's defeating the whole purpose of the name of the magazine.
Yeah. You know, and that's how this is not just colonized, you know. That's how brainwashed we were, or whitewashed we were, let me call it that.
Whitewashed,
in this whole way of life. Yeah.
And they try to, again, that's one of the things people try to downplay. You can't talk about the color because nobody don't know the color. Why is it that nobody knows the color? There's only come up when we say God black. So I have a t-shirt mark, God is black, with a big Africa behind it. And they had us explain to a mix up a Oreo. because there's half white, half black.
Right.
I mean it in no disrespectful way, but
That's the truth. That's the truth, yeah.
Right? The thing, and I say two things. The reason you have a problem with it is because you also have Caucasian family. And for you to have a problem with it is because you know what your ancestors on that side of the family are responsible for. Right? But secondly, this Jersey here not talking to that side of the family, you know. I'm not telling Caucasian people, East Indian people, Chinese people, Syrian people, or whoever else want to classify themselves as an ethnic group. I'm not telling them God black.
You're talking to your people.
I'm talking to my people.
Yes.
I'm not doing like what them do. And one tell them God black and them God have to be black. No. You can have your God. We can do in 2024, so long as I could speak. You can come to tell me that wrong and this is God. I find it so disheartening that after we had 1970, we still have people so satisfied spiritually and emotionally and mentally. So one sit down in a building called church where all these statues and paintings and pictures around them is of a Caucasian.
That's the nature of the mental enslavement we're still undergoing. That's just the nature of it. We still undergo. And the thing is, these guys reading from the Bible and preaching in these churches and so on, telling us that God made you in his own image and likeness. So therefore, if he did make you in his own image and likeness, you know, what's really going on here?
One of the best I get for that is all how they try to dance around the meaning. I say does the word image and the word likeness have a different meaning in the Bible than when you come and apply to something outside. Because they try to tell you about who your likeness is attitude. I say, you know, I tell everybody who try to bring down the Bible like that, whatever explanation you have of the stories in the Bible, if it is not backed up by the Bible, that is your opinion. You're not dealing with your opinion right now.
Yeah, we deal with facts.
The fact is, we know what the word image
means,
and we know what the word likeness means.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason we have to waste time on that nonsense study is because them people did a spectacular job. Convincing me that Hero, Ogun, I like to call you one from South Africa, Unkulunku.
Mm-hmm.
All of them African, authentic African deities, I don't know realize the whole thing. But somebody that this is good. So when we go back to 1970, I remember listening to, sorry, it was very funny to me though, Kafra Kambon, Baba Kafra Kambon talk about what has actually happened when they went into the church.
Yeah.
Nothing like what is reported.
No. But as a matter of fact, you know, the headline of the Express said William says hooliganism in the church.
Right.
A couple of weeks later, the Archbishop himself and Father Harvey came out and said there was nothing like that in the church. You and I would have gone into the church and put a jersey on the head of the statue and put a placard in St. Peter's hand saying freedom now. And there's also a picture in the Express too with this white priest talking to the guys sitting down on the pews, and they're not really arguing. Yes. So this issue of the sort of hooliganism in the church and the desecration and the painting of the, I mean, Campbell did not leave home, you know, to say that they're going in the church and they walk with that thinner black paint and that kind of thing. You know, that thing happens so, let me call it incidentally or unplanned. So that coming out of the issues in the Sir George William University in Canada, where they were really practicing severe and serious racism against black people. You know. So Campbell and they decided to go and march and protest against they decided to go and protest, you know, outside the Canadian embassy, which is located then in the Gordon Grant building on in South Key there. From there, and the protest was peaceful. From, might have been noisy, but peaceful. So from there, they go on to Royal Bank of Canada, which was seen as a bastion. I mean, according to Cambon, and as reported in the Express, good. When you go inside there, in the next country, everybody white or the skin very, very, very clear. You know, and they went protesting, and the police, according to the Express report, the police went in to violently remove them out of the
bag.
Yeah. And they were going to, one of the police was going to manhandle a sister, and Cambon reached out to try to stop him from it. Bam, he got a baton in his head, falling on the ground. So they took him out and so on. Clyde Nunes immediately went and he withdrew his $45. Somewhat small now, but that would be big then. Money. Yeah. He withdrew his $45 out of the bank and so on.
Right.
And somebody say, let's go to the church. Up to now, they don't know who say, let's go to the church.
That's just what they hear.
Yeah. And everybody just went. And that's the masses in control. That is the masses, directing the part of the revolution.
Yeah.
It's not Dagger say that. Cambon was knocked out, he couldn't say that. The masses saying, let's do this.
Church, yeah.
And that's the power of African democracy. Which is at some point I will be looking at in an exhibition,
Right.
In Move, the best part of Trinidad. Yeah. So that's how the church issue happened.
Right.
And Makemba, you know Makemba?
Yeah.
Right. So Makemba has a nice story about how he went to the church and how it transformed him. You all could probably talk to him about it at some point. Yeah. Yeah.
He did mention in the time, because we did
an interview with him already.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
okay,
he did mention a bit about. We have a question here for you. From John Mortel Immortal. He said, do you think that the ideologies of NJAC will work today?
Like the sister said, 1970 is relevant yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That's the ideology, that's the culture. As Amalka Cabra said, revolutions for us will be cultural revolutions. And that's a cultural thing we were addressing. So yes, it's going to be relevant. But I suspect he or she is asking, right, I suspect he's asking, if we can go and protest the way we did in 1970. No, the conditions are not right like that now for us to go in our numbers and protest the way we did then. Good?
So my question, Chi, is because we had that as a topic actually, where we went wrong. 1970s to now, where we went wrong. And we had asked a couple, which are one of our supporters, Wayne Ruff and his wife Michelle. The both of them went to school. Wayne was going QRC, I think, and Michelle was going St. Joseph Convent. Big Afro. And they march. They leave school and they went and march. And we had asked them to come and talk to us about it because, we're trying to figure out, because we've spoken to Sandy, who he and all Sandy's 70 something now, boy. I think he's 70 something, and he was saying to us that the whole ideology of the father of the nation. And he explained to us why they felt the way they felt. And he made mention of it just now with regards to what he said in the papers about hooliganism in the church. Now, I grew up in a P&M house too, to the point where they have a big picture of him in the house, right? And it would be very uncomfortable for them to hear some of the things, because remember, they hold him in this very high esteem.
Yeah.
Because the man was bright. We're not saying he wasn't bright.
As a matter of fact, he was the third brightest man in the world. According to Spang, we don't know who is the first and second, but he was the
third. Right? So we want to know, based on the whole NJAC philosophy, where we went wrong. Because for the life of me, I can't, but I think I understand why the PNM and the UNC would have been the forerunners or the ANR because of the party campaign financing and that kind of thing. So people will put in money into a campaign that we know if it is your win, you have to give it back something, right? And I feel as though the philosophy of NJAC was not that, right? As I said, we have not been able to sit with anybody from the NJAC to give us a little philosophy about the inner workings of the party, what happened, what went wrong, I know they still are wrong, but where you think we went wrong with that, the political side of it, of the NJAC. Tell me what you think about that.
But just to be clear, anything I say
Yeah.
You know, it's making an assumption.
All right, okay.
We're
Fine.
making an assumption.
Fine,
So I've been involved in NJAC,
Mhm.
but my involvement was not at the leadership level.
Okay, fair enough.
Until later on,
Fair enough.
you know. So at that point in time, I can just speculate that we may have slipped based on the rejection of conventional politics.
Okay.
If NJAC had adopted conventional politics as their means of making a change, it might have, but that's a risk.
Yeah.
You're adopting a system as you're condemning.
Yes.
And because you have to,
No, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. So therefore, that's why I think we could say NJAC slipped because I am sure that based on the outpourings of support in 1970, if NJAC had said yes, we're going to enter elections, NJAC would have been in government.
Oh.
NJAC
So
would have
they
been in
never went
government.
up for election?
No, because NJAC rejected conventional politics. Because conventional politics, according to NJAC, right, at the time, and I don't think it has changed now, conventional politics is conventional conditioned thought and conditioned behavior.
True.
So conventional politics condition you to think that you and I must only get involved in governance once every 5 years. So next year at some point when they dictate whatever that point is, then we get involved in thing. On that day, after that day done finish, let me say, you know, our participation.
Well, I definitely see that. I agree with that. In terms of not being involved, I have a problem with that. We always talk that.
So our participation would finish then. Good. And therefore, NJAC did not think of politics as that kind of thing. So NJAC politics was how are we going to live? All of us will be involved in how are we going to live?
Right.
And that is the essence of, to borrow them guys' words, real democracy, where you involve the people in making decisions, not once every 5 years in the case of a general election, or once every 4 years in the case of the councillor stuff and so on. No, you know. So that is where people could accuse NJAC of failing, but I don't think NJAC failed.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it.
I don't think NJAC failed because NJAC's politics was not just about seizing power. To me, NJAC was very, very successful because NJAC's revolution was cultural to make us show off the thinking of the white man. You know, so that today, very, very few people see themselves as Negroes.
Yeah.
Good. Very few Indians see themselves as coolies. Good. And there was another attempt at uniting both African and Indians in the society. And let me just say now on the question of black. Good. In my personal thinking, being black is not limited to being African.
Right.
Good. Black means, as Kitchener sang in the early 60s or somewhere thereabouts, maybe in the 50s, once you're not white, you're considered black.
Agreed.
So Africans are black, Indians are black, Chinese are black, the Syrians are black, although some of them here feel they're white. You know. But let them go and tell Israel and the US stop bombing them because they're white. You know, they're black. They just behave in a particular kind of way. It's kind of like
they feel better than.
Even a rich African man here in Trinidad feels better than us. Because he has the means to live, you know, materially good. At times, you know, as we said in NJAC then, he was just an educated non-person. You know, he had no sense of himself.
Right.
But so that's a clear of the whole issue of
I'll have this state though. So with that last part, I only consider people black who consider themselves black. Meaning, I could see an East Indian as a black brother. But only if he sees himself
well, I understand
as a black brother, you know?
Yeah, I understand that.
I tell them, we have enough people, Dr. John Henry Clark always said that we don't need to go begging people to be us. Or for us. Right? Why was like Pinesburg? Because something I was talking about based on what Karen asked you. I remember George Weeks was talking about it. No, it's Sweet.
Vincent Sweet.
Vincent Sweet was talking about it that particular night in 2020. About if we fail. And I would love to be able to, I'm try to reach out to them now. I'd love to contact him and have it from a leadership level of NJAC. And one of the things he was saying is that what he would consider failure, I'm paraphrasing, is not pushing more for the ideology to be involved in daily lives as Black people. Right? Because, as I say, when I was telling you earlier before we started, I don't know about you, but for me, the first things I hear about NJAC is them people who are more the warrior that shiki.
And Sapat.
And the first things I hear about the 1970 was the March for Weaker Working Bank. Because here we say when you went in
Royal Bank
from Canada in town,
it
was only right. I tell them that the same thing I say to Emancipation Support Committee. The kind of work that all they do. People can say what they want now about the Emancipation Support Committee. People can say what they want now about NJAC. But they would never be able to change. No matter what we think about what we're doing now, you will never be able to change what we do, what they do. But the responsibility is on all. If nobody don't know, you win Baba the Year Award. Who fault is that?
Mine.
And it's the same thing I say to some of the people in Emancipation Support Committee. Because I was one of them people, born them down all in the earlies. all how.
When you say the earlies, what is
years
time?
Ago before.
What time frame is that?
So let me say 2002 till about 2010.
Okay, 2002, I was still actively involved in the ESC, so you've been burning me down.
Right. You understand?
Yeah.
Simply because you know I have a different perspective because I be around so many people who working behind the scenes to make some things happen. And while I don't agree with everything, I had to at least acknowledge what I seen them doing. The same thing I say about the hospitals. We want a better healthcare system. But I have to acknowledge the work that I see from them nurses and them.
Facts.
I have to acknowledge that, you know, are we, while acknowledging that we are shit going on, people still losing. I lose a nephew to the hospital. A baby nephew, you know. But at the same time, we also want to acknowledge what we see, what we experience from them in a positive way. You know? I remember Babu Katema giving me a little booklet to read on things that NJAC do. And be like, this should be national friggin' reading, yo. Because we looking at NJAC as this little, that little thing there and just straight dealing office there.
Yeah.
These people and them known around the world in certain quarters. But nobody don't know that. Well, I suspect that one of the reasons is because they probably don't have the money to pay on certain national things.
That would be a critical reason, yes.
But it also goes back to what we were saying before we start. Them TV station and them like the one on the promenade. That why I tell them I know no Trini. Because if there was really Trinis and they care about Trinidad and Tobago and the history of Trinidad and Tobago, we would now wait until Indian arrival to saturate the place with things about the things that the East Indians and them did, the things that they brought to here. And I tell them, I don't know what life would be like without curry, you know. That's how I'm saying there. I don't eat it as much, but doubles. I don't know what life would be like without that. Right? If we was really serious about with Trini, then they would have things. You don't want to do it for yourself? Okay. I send out a call. I want East Indian programming from Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be historical or for entertainment value. I want African programming from Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be historical or for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Look at them little and them was making the movies and them recently. No, I mean some of them things can't play on
TV, yeah.
But if you tell them make
Clean it up.
something that is show on TV for all ages,
Clean it up.
and we will show it, they're making movies.
Yeah,
That's why I
yeah.
tell them I am not a Trinidadian. I am an African who was born in the beautiful Trinidad Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Because it don't even have nothing on a daily basis for our young children to say, well, Daddy, Miss play a video in school today. You didn't know this? Well, here you come, Maxim. You know it's 3 ships that Columbus come here on? Like start on she one time. Yeah.
And she's not to blame. She's not to
Of
be
course
blamed.
not.
No.
So let's take this thing back to this whole question of independence.
Yeah.
In 1961, when Eric Williams was supposedly campaigning for independence, he made this statement that Massa they done. You might have heard that.
Yeah.
Massa they done.
Of course. You can get the book still by David.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said that Massa they done, that statement means is a social revolution. And I can't remember what else right now. It just slipped me. Good. The intelligentsia, those educated guys and so on, they felt it meant emancipation, they felt it meant liberation, they felt it meant independence. But and we on the ground, listening to the doctor, the Black Messiah and so on, we felt it meant dignity. We felt it meant an end to being able to not being able to apply for certain jobs, because at that time, there's certain jobs we couldn't apply for because we're too black or because we live in this or that community.
Yeah.
We didn't have education. We felt it meant an end to the meager, menial jobs and meager salaries. That's what we felt. But it just wasn't that. So that another thing too about independence is that lots of us feel that Eric Williams is we see him as the father of the nation. But what we don't remember, what we don't know, what we're not told, especially the generation of today, that Eric Williams is not the only one who went and accepted the Queen's proposal. There was no negotiation as far as I'm concerned. Right. He went to accept the Queen's proposal. But he had to take with him the DLP opposition leader, Dr. Rusnat Kapadio, with him.
Right.
So the both of them went and say, okay, Queen, thanks, we accepting this. So William getting all the praises, and the Indian participant in that process, is
left out.
Blanked out of the history of that. Blanked out.
Well, that's the first time I hear that.
Same.
Yeah, when people come to the exhibition and I explain to them what this whole question of independence, how it happened and so on, what the process is, they're shocked.
Not fought for.
They're shocked. They did not know that Eric Williams was not the only one. And therefore that wipes away a critical part of the kind of solidarity we're supposed to have among the Africans and Indians, among ourselves.
That would definitely have a big impact on the way we interact.
Yes.
As different ethnicities.
Yes,
definitely.
And while they were from different opposing political persuasions, the fact is both had to collaborate, with the Queen then to accept this thing, And then let's examine Williams's Independence Day message on Independence morning. Good. So he gets up on the radio. It was broadcast on the radio. It wasn't something, and he says, we now have independence. The Princess Margaret came and she inaugurated Parliament. We now let me just use his words. You now have your flag. You now have your anthem. You now have your national flower. You now have your Parliament and all these different things he said. Good. Then he go on and he asks the questions. What will you make of your independence? Good. And what will you tell your children 5 years from today? And it shows the separation of the man from us. It shows that.
Yeah.
So it's not a question about will we make of our independence.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. What will you do with your independence?
I want to add to that, Baba, that in change. We seen it today, but we seen it at a more gruffy.
Yeah.
You say, well, you instead of we.
Yes.
Right. It's the same thing going on today. But now it's more brazen, more bold-faced.
Yes.
I mean, one of them sit down and laugh, and one of them sit down in a kingly looking chair. If you follow European royalty, a kingly looking chair and laugh at me. Raising the door. I feel like that's the thinking. So they goes to show on. And they, not the nation or we that are a part of, they did not riot.
So from independence, that so-called independence, which Fanon would call flag independence, is where we got. We didn't get real independence. So from that time now, you know, it was they were above us. They were the elites and so on in that kind of sense. Good. And then he also asks, what will you tell your children 5 years from today? You know, which again put us in the bracket of planning for only 5 years. So we're not planning for long-term things. Every 5 years we're going to plan. That is why up to today, if the PNM wins the election once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times in a row, every time they win it is a new planning, a new effort to plan again. So there's a continuum of developing the country, you know, and therefore, when they're out of office, the next government that comes in office, go into the same 5-year thing. So we have a 5-year mentality, you know, rather than a mentality that says, let's plan for the future. There's no future planning really. It's only for 5 years from here.
True.
That's how independence set us up. You know, by the third brightest brain in the world, who's supposed to lead his people, you know, to glory. Let me call it that. Good. And then another part of his speech, he said, democracy means more than just the
one man, one vote.
He said democracy means that the minority, this is no joke, guys, that the minority must recognize the rights of the majority. Isn't that supposed to be the other way around? That the majority is supposed to recognize that both of you must recognize my right, rather than I recognizing your right. You know. So that is what went on from day one in this so-called independence thing. You could go and get that speech and read it, and there are other parts of the speech that could be, you know, looked at critically in terms of how we shape ourselves, how we shape this society and so on. You know, so for example, he was talking also about, you know, working and that kind of thing, and he said you must not slack on the job. Now, while that is technically correct, historically, that is putting us back into the period of indentureship and enslavement. Because when during those 2 periods in enslavement and indentureship, when we didn't want to work overly hard for massa, and we did just enough to avoid the whips on our backs, we just didn't, you know, mop the whole floor within the time we had. You know, they wake up at 4:30, 5 in the morning, and you have to work till 7 o'clock. So between that time and thing, when you go and kill out yourself to make sure you reach that child down there for, you know, you do, you know, up to here and so on. So they determined that we were slacking because we didn't reach that child down there. Good? And the same thing happened to our Indian brothers who, when they came later on, when they responded the same way, they were also called slackers. So instead of putting us in a particular context, you know, and say, guys, let's put our shoulders to the wheel and see how much we can get done. He said, don't become slackers. Therefore, further cementing our minds, you know, what should I say? The humanized way to refer to our ancestors as slackers, as lazy, you know, that kind of thing. So that speech, if you take that speech and look at it carefully, we'll see how we arrive at it. And that is why we need to find a way to tell these guys, although he said they will do it and should do it, teach our history in our schools, they have not even begun to formulate any idea of how we should do it. Good. And so I'm hoping that at some point, with the whole question of the different exhibitions that will be organized and so on, we're going to have, which are a point where
you start bringing schools or taking it to the schools.
But not just doing that, but putting that as part of the curriculum. So we learn our history.
Because the history class is about everything but
Yeah, it's about
Trinidad history.
history
The
class.
well thing.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to get more Trinidad history in social studies than in history class.
True. Very, very true.
Real talk.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to look forward to social studies because I like history.
Mm-hmm.
And then history class, when they come and they tell me about Christopher and Hebrew and them, I don't know about them.
Yeah.
You know, while it is part of the history.
Mm-hmm.
But you
I
can't,
like it.
I don't even accept it as part of the history anymore for one reason.
Mm.
Can't change the reality, it happened.
Yeah.
But how come there's only one reality
Yeah.
that you just want to give me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like what we just talking here, like, all right, we know about all them movies and the theologies that all they win and show you some of the ones that don't fight back now.
Yeah, exactly. They
Show
always,
some rebellions.
and that is all part of the cultural aspect, the cultural revolution of 1970.
Right.
You know, where we saying we got to see the world from our point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they always paint Africa and India in negative light. So for example, because they control the media, that's the next point here. So that all the newspaper reporters put Africa as hunger and starvation and coup d'etat and so on in Africa.
All the time.
In fact, Biafra was the was the whipping boy of it, and that is Biafra's conditions that they contributed to in a very, very serious way, right? And then on the Indian side, the Indians always have starvation and riots again and so on, you know. So so both of us were kept in a way where we see ourselves in negative lights based on their control of the media,
right?
And that was part of the cultural changeover that we wanted to achieve, in NJAC, via NJAC in the 70s.
So, Mortel have two comments here. One is that kind of basically the same as the first question. We say, with the colonial way of thinking still existing in our island, how do we come to one common ground for the betterment of our generation? Right? But then he wondering out loud here now. I often wonder if Kwame Ture was our prime minister, if they would have done him like Maurice Bishop.
Well, they didn't do it to him, or they weren't able to do it to him back in America. They weren't able to do it to him when he went to Africa and lived. So there is a possibility that he could have been protected the same way he was protected both in America and I think right here. Yeah, because he's one of us.
Of course.
He's one of the guys we would have cherished. And even though he wasn't here, we cherished him. Yeah. So maybe that may not have happened. But that's just a maybe.
I don't agree though.
You don't agree?
We have a history of selling out here. Just like how
black people have a history of selling out. Yeah, Trinidad.
Right? So on other side in terms of NJAC and thing, it would have given unprecedented work. Because I sit down listening to an elder, our Orunde, who was involved heavily in them times in NJAC, right?
Orunde Lumumba? Orunde Lumumba?
No, Orunde Matuta Matunde.
Okay.
From Arima.
Okay. Oh, right, I know him.
He tell me, so this man sit down and talk. Karen, I swear at the time, I listening to a bad man talk. I don't want an old man. When I say old man, one of the things he was talking about was being a driver for Makanda Daga when they had meetings.
Yeah.
And his car to stay running. First things first, best of the best mechanic had to work on it because it had to be working.
Right.
To have a meeting to talk about what we're going to do for the betterment of black people.
Yeah.
You have to have a driver with a car running just in case the police come to get away. Think about that. That's happened in Trinidad and Tobago, where people thinking we have so much of freedom and democracy. And that happened in we lifetime because we parents was alive. Even though we wasn't born, we parents were alive. And say, yeah, he say we in meeting and idling and they see, man. First things first, very few people know where the meeting is. Or where we actually going. So if it's you going in meeting to talk and use a police target, the way you going and talk tonight might be 2-3 people alone know where you going. It might have meeting they are the guests.
And hope they guess right.
Come on.
Well,
this is Trinidad.
Well, it depends on the kind of meeting you'd have been organizing.
Right.
So, for example, I have been to a number of meetings that were publicly known
Yeah.
for the masses to come and so on, and we didn't have that kind of thing. But if you're going to a particular planning type of meeting, and depending on what you're going to plan and organize, then you would have that kind of thing, which to me was not widespread. That's, you know, that's not the widespread thing. The picture may be correct. You know, the picture may be exaggerated.
Yeah.
Good. But that's not the widespread, you know, kind of thing we lived with in the 70s.
Then I listened to again Kafa Kambon talk. Imagine police kicking down your door. And were you guilty of, boy, being a leader in a movement that simply want betterment for its people? Police kicking down your door for that, and you get put on an island prison. So I talked to him. I had the pleasure of having a real good friendship with Afisho Motupe, who passed away recently. But if you tell the photographer, man, I really hope that they do the book. Right? So them, when you talk to brothers like you was in jail? What part of you, based on your the personality, you know? What part of you deserve to be in any jail? Simply because, can you imagine the library that Afisho have?
The amount of pictures that Pisho has.
Pictures since the 70s and I never stopped. Boy, the last thing he told me, he was working on a book. But I really hoping that
he died last year,
this year.
Okay.
Or last year.
Yeah, last year. Would have been last year,
Yeah, because I have a picture of him, we bounce up in Yobatala Festival, take a picture of him, and then here last year. I'm taking pictures since then, King. Boy, you know, when we talk to people about, 1970, because some people is very emotional, at least I have experience. And then you had the other set, like your customers.
You
wouldn't look at them and know that there was that, but when they start to talk, passion.
Yeah.
And I'll say they were around this probably the same age you were at the time now. But that passion gone, man. For that passion for wanting to be a part of something that will contribute to the betterment of the society that we live in. Where that passion gone?
Well, actually, I don't think the passion has gone very, very far. As a matter of fact, the exhibition was dedicated to those of our people today who don't know about 1970. For example, as part of the exhibition, there was this sister who came from St. Augustine High School, Girls High School, and there's some information within the exhibition that spoke about an achievement of St. Augustine Girls High School in 1967, 60, somewhere around there. So, and she said they did not know that their school participated and won that award, won that thing. You know, she did not know.
That is crazy.
You know?
And SAGS is one of the top girls' schools in the country.
Yeah. So it's not that the passion isn't there. So there are some of those who would the exhibition is dedicated to people like her. Good. The exhibition is also dedicated to people who have forgotten, because some of us have forgotten. Some of us really have forgotten.
Yeah, by choice.
I don't know if it's by choice or what. It could be. We could say it's by choice, but there would be other extenuating circumstances.
Right.
You know, that people would have forgotten. They get old and like me, forgetting and that kind of thing. Yeah. Right. So exhibit dedicated to those of us who remembers.
Right.
And to remember is a big thing. You know, to remember is a big thing.
Yeah.
Right. And those of us who had the courage to be involved, like Daga and Kambon and Apisho and Ayagrumi and so on, had the courage to be involved. And those who give support from the sidelines.
Yeah.
You know, even if they get support from the sidelines, it's dedicated to them also.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you a story about how the sideline became important. Up at Daga's home, Daga's kitchen cupboard was in a little disarray. And Clive Zander, the musician, Zander who was
his brother,
came home by Dagger and saw that. And he went and he organized to fix Dagger's cupboard. And he wasn't involved in no protest, and he wasn't involved in it. But that was his contribution to helping Dagger to maintain some kind of dignity and so on, self-respect in his home. So that person deserves to be recognized.
Of course. Of course.
So in terms of saying that with the passion gone, the passion has not really gone anywhere. The passion is probably just waiting for the right moment, the right avenue, the right whatever it is to reappear. You know, like this exhibition was supposed to go on just for 2 weeks, from the 20th of April to the 4th of May. Just those 2 weeks.
Right.
The exhibition went on for 7 weeks.
What?
Yeah. Based on people coming and saying they want to bring this one, they want to bring that one, they want to invite this one. So it went on, you know.
Right.
The attendance wasn't always large as at some times. Sometimes you had 20 persons, sometimes you had 4, sometimes you had 3, you know. But what was important about the exhibition and the request to keep it going was people learning things about 1970 that they never knew before.
Of course.
You know? And the passion, you know, is there. It will be expressed in different ways now.
Yeah.
So people who wanting to keep the exhibition going so they could bring this one and that one, that's passion.
Yeah, of course.
Expressed in a different kind of way. You know, the little children who came and wanted to bring their schoolmates and so on, that's passion, expressed in a different way.
Yeah.
So the passion may be a little subdued now, good, but the passion is there. And at some point in time, once we keep doing the right work, the passion, you know,
will remain.
Yeah, and will grow too. You know,
one of the things, as I say, that are different aspects of support for the revolution. One of the things that I realized, well, for me, I don't know, you might see differently, that don't get enough recognition is the spiritual side of the support for the revolution. Because when it started and people started questioning the religion that you're following based on the fact that, you know, we can't be fighting a white-owned system, but then going and pray to a white God. That forced people to look now at Africa in terms of spirituality. And then we had an explosion of people returning to African-centered spirituality. Some of those people were involved heavily in the background. So as I say, now, like what I say, I like that example that the man came and fixed up a cupboard. That's another way as well now, because it had some of those people ended up either being in African spirituality or went to seek help from people practicing African spirituality. That movement that NJAC and them was pushing also push out the fact that a lot of people seek they want to reclaim the name. I like how that's how Chief does say, you ain't changing your name because you didn't change it willingly the first time. You're reclaiming your name, you know, and a call he doesn't make, and it had to be made again, boy. We shouldn't have to pay no money to change we name.
Yeah, because that payment is a discourager. It's
not just
$1,500, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how much you come on to today. But is that also a disrespect to our ancestors? Is a disrespect to the movement that you're claiming was a good movement in the 70s that they don't help us re-identify and everything. But now I have to go and pay money to change my name back to my original name when I didn't have a say
in the first place.
In the changing in the first place. We shouldn't have to pay no money for that.
You had to pay when you do this?
Yes, I paid. The person who did it for me was Ataku Jiffy. He's dead now. And at that time, I think I paid either $400 or $500 in 1976.
Wow.
Yeah,
that figure easier.
Yeah. But
definitely.
But maybe,
the same thing
but just maybe, there would be some lawyer or two outside there who would understand and try to do it without seeking to profit off of us wanting to reclaim ourselves. They might just be glad to help us reclaim ourselves.
So that's the lawyer's fee. That's not
some of it is the lawyer's fee.
So what's the actual fee for the government?
Oh, I don't know.
I can't tell you the exact numbers.
I don't know. Because you have to do some stamp business and something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and that's a big part of it too. Like again, more jokes coming out when you know learning about NJAC and things. Other ones, give them African name Bugulawa. I mean, you want to go even further? Who was the politician that laughed when former Prime Minister Ian Robinson was given an honorary chieftaincy from Yoruba land? And being an Olokun devotee, I can't remember the name that he was given, the Orisha name he was given. They laugh and call him an chief, active politician.
Yeah, the current Prime Minister of the country, he is the one who did that. He is the one who did that. You know? And he's running to Ghana now 2 and 3 times.
Yes.
And I am sure, well, let me say not I'm sure. I am almost certain that at some point along, because once you go there, they offer you a name. They offer you a name.
Yeah.
So once, you know, he would have gone there 2 or 3 times, they would have said, whoever there's calling there.
With the title
yes.
A Prime Minister.
Yeah, they would have said, listen, you know, we could call you, we should name you so. So I don't believe that they would not have offered him a name.
A name, yeah.
You know, that is why.
And I'm sure he accepted quietly.
I ain't sure about that. I can't be sure about that. I can't be sure about that. Sorry.
Yeah, that
you know?
Again, there are certain people in Trinidad, when it comes to certain things politicians say and do, the memory long.
Yeah, boy.
Why the majority of us, our memory short? Are certain people, because that Chief Kununu thing that happened before me and he was interested in you know that is, that tell me that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but today I see just how disrespectful I was, but you was already a big hardback man when you made that statement.
When you make that statement.
You was already in your 40s or something like that, or your late 30s. So it's not to say it was a young 20-year-old not knowing nothing about
ignorant and so on,
No.
Yeah, it was a big hardback one.
Yeah.
And he lived long after that.
Yeah.
He never issued an apology.
Yeah.
Even today. Even today, where yet saying, you know, African Emancipation Day and all of that.
Yes.
If you're serious and you have any type of honor in you, that's one of the things that are correct.
Yeah.
Because that's a real disrespect.
Yeah.
To call somebody Chief Kunumunu who was just bestowed a chieftaincy title and a name.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I proclaim him. I'm not talking about Ian Robinson now. I hope that he would have been buried with his African name on his tombstone also. I can't be certain that it didn't happen, and I certainly do not it did happen. Good? But I'm saying then that the Prime Minister, the person who's currently the Prime Minister, and talking about African emancipation now, you know, if he had gone and said, listen, to emancipate African people, really, I will change my name to.
Oh my goodness!
You can imagine the sense of, you know, but no, he prefers to hide behind the portrayal, you know, in roots of Kunta Kinte being beaten, his African name being beaten out of him, and say that is why he had changed his name. You know, that doesn't make you a man.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
that's not even a valid point. You could
exactly.
You could only say those things to our media that can't question it.
Yeah.
When we get with media credentials,
man.
And we can go inside
Diplomatic Center.
The Diplomatic Center.
The Diplomatic Center. After the cabinet meeting, and they can say, we have a question there from Orisha Lashe from Black to Black. Wow, I bet after the first time they never let me back. So you can't come and tell me that.
Yeah.
Who over you with a whip right now, beating you to keep
yes, exactly. And that's that's the easiest way, and that's the smallest start you could make to African people reclaiming their dignity. The smallest start you could make is to start reclaiming your name. You know, I remember in 2013, I gave an address to the Legal Aid Authority, and I can't remember the whole name of it now, for their emancipation event in 2013. I can't, in July, some other July. And I was talking to these, room full of lawyers about emancipation. So when I went up and so on, they're looking at me, where did she come from? So I started by saying, yes, I understand some of your looks and so on. Right? But let me tell you something. All of us in this room here black.
Yeah.
All of us. You black, you black, you black. And I pointed out the Indian and the Africans. And I even pointed out Vernon Dilemma was in the crowd. I said, look at Vernon here. He and I were good. Yeah. I said, look at Vernon here. Vernon might think he white, but Vernon black. That is why they're bombing him and his people and so on in Syria and Lebanon. He black.
And now scientifically it proven that even the Chinese just they just put out a statement saying that when they
check the genealogy.
They check the genealogy. They are descendants of.
Yes.
So what we doing?
Yes.
What we doing? And stop supporting not supporting. Stop worshiping your deity and come on. We ain't telling you that. You continue your way of life.
Yeah.
But everybody just needs to just accept it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they will continue to try to do that because as who say it the other day, boy, Dr. Umar Johnson say, nobody wants to be associated with the losing team.
Yeah.
Because they have us down as the losing team. You understand?
Yeah.
But that is only because our story, the new story, starts from slavery. What happened before that? You understand? And anytime you start down that road and you start going and looking and trying to ascertain what happened, where were we before that? The discomfort that comes with the current situation, it'll make a lot of people uncomfortable, because you will want to disassociate yourself with certain things. You're not going to want to support certain things. You're not going to spend your money in particular places. You're not going to follow particular regiments. So it really is a scenario where I just feel like we have to continue to do the work. As small as our show is, every week we will have 20, 25 people will tune in, but the word is getting out. Look, a man stopped my son in school the other day. I talked to him this morning. He have 2 books written. One is called Kings Meet Kings, when Selassie came to Trinidad. And then the other one is the history of herbal medicine, right, in Trinidad. Both available on Amazon. And he reached out to us. He said, he see my son. He said, hey, I know you and I know your father. Write down the number and the name. Tell your father call me. And I reached out to him today. I have him scheduled for the 2nd of July. Right? To come on the show and talk about the books and that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, we're not mobile yet to be able to come to the venue. But what we will do is, I want to buy a gimbal. So that I could come to the exhibition and do those things. You know what I mean? Because these type of things, you all have social media and stuff? The exhibition, no?
No.
Right.
Assistant now trying to organize some Instagram stuff.
Yeah, we need that. Because I'll tell you something. When that happens, I know how you're going to close the exhibition.
Well, actually, I don't want anything to deal with us claiming ourselves to be closed.
Good.
Oh, sure.
I don't want anything, to be closed.
Right.
The only problem is the limitedness of the space.
Yes.
As a matter of fact,
the appointment.
Yeah. because there's so many things to reveal about ourselves.
Yeah.
And however forum we want, or that's a forum now, whatever means, and the exhibition is just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where's I see you bring a little folder.
I just in case I have to refer to it. I brought some stuff here.
All right. Okay.
So you want to? Okay. So let me look at this one here now.
Right.
This one here says, you guys could see it.
Yeah, they could see it.
Right. Servo was born out of Black Power. Not many people understand this. As far as they're concerned, Black Power went in the church and disrespect the church and desecrate the church and so on. So listen to this. The Black Power Revolution of 1970 was revisited last Friday when Servo held their 40th anniversary, and that was in 2010.
Right.
Good. The featured speaker, Executive Director Martin Pacheco, even as he applauded the success of the 40-year-old organization, warned that the same social issues which led to the birth of Sobol are still present today.
Yes.
Today. He told the packed congregation, while there is no marching in the thousands in the streets in 1970, today's youth now resort to criminal activity. No more fist in the air that says power, but rather finger on the trigger.
And by 2010,
This 2010, this man is talking. Then he goes on to say, interested in the history of Sobol, Pacheco this is an express thing. Pacheco reminded the packed congregation that it was from this event of 1970 that the seed of Sobol was planted. He said, the birth of our organization must never be taken in isolation. It must always be tied to an event in 1970 which changed the face of this nation. He's not just talking about changing the behavior of the church, he's talking about the face of the nation, where you and I could now respect our Africanness. We don't have to hide and be ashamed of it. We could say we are Africans proudly. And I would do that question, me calling myself African in a little while. Yeah. So you say, right? It changed the face of the nation. That is why some people are wondering if the young sisters, the young beautiful sisters as he called them, I can't remember his name now, in the banks and you see them, if they know how come they manage to be working there now. You know. Right?
Yeah.
He said that many persons in the congregation were not around in 1970. Pacheco urged them that if they wanted to have a greater appreciation of Sobol, it was important to find out about that period in the country's history. And I really hope that some of them would have gone and checked that out. Yeah. Because if we don't know our history, if we don't know what part history played in how we arrive at here today, everybody's going to be living in limbo without understanding anything. They'll be just hung up like a tree, like a what do you call it? Something on a tree. Wherever the wind blows, it blows them and so on. You know. So unless we get to our roots, we're not going to understand ourselves. We're not going to teach the next generation how to get some self-respect, you know, and how to get some self-confidence. We're not going to be able to do that if we don't read our history. He said that event changed the face of Trinidad Tobago. He said thousands of young, mostly black youth from the lowest rung of the socioeconomic ladder marched the streets of this country on a daily basis with clenched fists in the air shouting power, power, power. It was an earth-shattering experience which was sufficient to fan the burning flames in the heart of one young priest, Father Jerry Pantin. You know? So many of us outside here don't know, or outside there, when I say outside, I mean outside this don't know that Sobol was born out of 1970 and the revolution. It's a cultural thing. 1970 was a cultural revolution.
One of the commenters here who asked the question, John Mortel, he have a song named that exact same thing, you know, cultural revolution. Asking that he have there's some more comments here. Say, until we reclaim our sovereignty, we will remain enslaved. However, how can we reclaim our sovereignty? And how can we be independent and still ain't free? Right?
Because we were never independent.
Exactly. Well, boy,
we were never independent.
I feel one of the biggest things we have to do as a nation is accept that.
Yeah.
First things first, that the independence that we think we have, it was a deal broken between people where we don't know what was the deal.
Up to now we still don't know.
We don't have nothing to do with it. And then go from there. Because if we don't go from there, we still spending it up in mud.
Certainly.
Yeah, when you say NJAC didn't believe in the current system of things, we talking that talk these days in here, where that constitutional reform that it is only here them talk about
election,
coming to election. But you cannot be the MP for a district and people living in the district don't have access to you.
Yeah.
You in your office one day for the week, for 2-3 hours. You have people coming by your office 4 o'clock in the morning and waiting. You have a next side of your community that never even see you since election. And we have to stay with you for 5 years.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Listen, the MP for the area where I live, Lavantil East Mover. I live in Mover. As I I saw that man once walking, and that was the day when he was the first time he was campaigning.
Rastaman.
Yeah. What's his name
Rastaman
again?
2.2. Adrian Leons.
Yeah. Right? And he promised to return.
Yeah.
He promised to return. And he has not done so as yet. He makes still come, you know. But he has not done so as yet. You know.
Yeah, he tell my mother and them the same thing, because mommy and them live on Eastern Main Road, opposite TS City. I have a drain there between that connects Eden Lane to the Eastern Main Road. That is now eroding and threatening to damage the two walls that the neighbors have built. Not to mention all kind of people that be running through there. Yeah, dashing bush growing left, right, and center. And we keep saying to them, yo, just come and just cast the drain.
Yeah.
That's what we ask them to do. We ain't wear put no security in there, you know. We just wear cast the drain. Because if the drain is casted and it's clear, we could see. Right? But in the night, when the dashing bush tall, so a man could be down there, you don't know.
You know it's the whole full thing about all that listening to that boy?
Yeah. And there's only elders living around there.
It's simple. Is the simple things people just be asking for and can't get boy.
And when they treat us with that level of arrogance, not arrogant, but that level of disrespect, that level of dismissal and so on of our concerns, good, and we continue to put them back in office, we are in truth and in fact encouraging our own
demise.
Disrespect. We disrespecting ourselves, we disrespecting our children. And listen, I have no problem with people being grateful to the PNM for giving them or helping them to get a house here, a house there, or whatever. I have absolutely no problem. In fact, gratitude is something that is an African response to life. You must have gratitude. You must be grateful and so on.
Every day.
But as with everything else, there must be a limit. There must be a limit. So you can't be treating me with that level of disrespect and expect me, because that level of disrespect impacts upon my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, because they live in communities now where when you drive through Mova and some parts of Lavantil, this garbage stands and the garbage overflowing of the bins and so on would affect health.
Yeah, of course.
You know, the condition of the roads.
Yeah.
I see the do this nice thing down by Mova Junction there. When I see it happening, I say, listen, that to me is just what's the word I'm looking for?
Illusion?
No. Cosmetics.
Yes, cosmetics.
Just cosmetic work they're doing there.
Yeah.
They should have spent that money and go and fix the roads that we travel on throughout and allow the taxi drivers and the other drivers and so on to travel on the roads and save money from the amount of damage the vehicles are getting from shocks and front ends and all the other things. Spending money. And now, I ain't think 2 years since they do that, and the road is mashing up. You drive through there, the road is mashing up now. So somebody collect millions of dollars for that.
So that's right.
Good.
And enjoy it.
Yeah. and the road is mashing up now.
That's right.
I have a question here. What I don't like is, I don't like when people look like if they're trying to hide behind. So the comment coming from somebody with a they look like they're trying to spell your name.
Oh, okay.
As their account.
Okay.
Right? So instead of CHI, the CHE.
Or Che.
Che Kamose, same last word. Then the question is, I'm curious to hear about how this man of Asian descent aligns himself so passionately with the struggles of the African man, and why and how he considers himself African.
But I should answer that.
And we be off.
Yeah. I should answer that really. Now, my grandmother on my mother's side, if I put her to stand up, close to both of you, only white compared to my grandmother. Only white compared to my grandmother.
Right.
I think I mentioned in the beginning that I suspect my father is Chinese. I suspect, but that might be the half of me.
Yeah.
The other part of me is my brother who had a ras, my other sister, black, and so on. Black, So that's a now the other thing too is about that is that at one point in fact, when I was in NJAC, it was easy because we just talk about black power, we talk about politics.
Right.
So it was easy for me to feel comfortable functioning within NJAC.
Right.
Good. And when I joined the Emancipation Support Committee and began to function, I had a little hesitancy, not about talking about what we were doing, but in identifying with African. I remember going to a TTT interview one evening, and these three brothers from African Advancement Association were in the audience, in the downstairs hall, waiting for whatever they were waiting for and so on. And that impacted upon me negatively. Wondering, they must wonder, who the hell make me African? What is going on with this man? You know? And I performed badly in that interview because we were going to talk about we were going to talk about the Emancipation Village and so on. I failed in that interview according to me, in my own thing.
Your own assessment.
Yeah, I failed miserably, and that feeling went on for a little while until I was doing an MBA program. Yeah, and in this MBA class now, I had my partner. We had a group and so on. This is functioning. And every time a particular lecturer, Indian lecturer as a matter of fact, will be making statements and drawing examples that seems to say that only Indians develop in this thing. And I would always be questioning him, how you could say that? Look at this evidence, look at that evidence. At one point, you talk about Charlotte. I said, but the whole of Charlotte is Chinese. What are you talking about? Yeah. Right. And that MBA program was in 2001 or 2002, somewhere around there. So after the class now, my partner would say, Chi, you feel he's the blackest man in Trinidad there? I said, Gerard, you feel because you have an ounce, wait name again? Syrian blood in that makes you a Syrian. Well, I feel because I have an ounce of African blood in that makes me an African. And from that day, I became comfortable in defining myself as an African. Comfortable. Right. So I have no issue, I have no shame, I have no hesitancy. So I am an African.
But in the white community, right?
The white or white?
White. The white community. That is their belief. As long as you have a drop of African blood in you, you are black.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And now we could go and find pictures now of people in Africa that look like you.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
I have German in my blood. My great grandfather is white. Lily white. I've never seen him. I don't know what he look like. But my great grandmother is black like this from my arrow. You understand? And when you go down and you meet the Hindmans from Mayaro and Guaya, you will realize that you have some of them who jet black like the wall, and then you have some of them who white like the jersey.
Yeah.
And every reunion, the same people come in and they talk and say, so where you don't come from? I don't know you. You thinking it? And they start digging and find out. And who's your grandfather? And they talk and that's why I like the history side of things, because in there you get to find out who you are, where you come from, who is this one, where they was, We get to find out that it was two Hyman brothers who came to settle from. One was from Germany and the next one was from Ireland, I think. Right? One went to Tobago, one came to Trinidad, and they settled. And that is how the family started. So, these questions, yes, they may be valid because we are looking at it on the surface.
Let me just cut in now. Very, very good. I'm glad you're still here. So they said this commenter is his son, by the way, and is asking a question to advance the conversation and allow our listeners to understand and identify with how they can also know themselves to be African. So is his son.
Oh, my son?
Yeah, apparently he's his son. He logged in on your account.
Che? Yeah. Oh, Che! Oh, yes.
Like a sleeper cell.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear when they say his name is spelled C-H-E and it seems to them, but
because we just get sometimes is the spam now. The people who try to bring a negative.
So what
I don't mind Kamose might deal with it.
What is his comment again?
His first comment was, I'm curious to hear about how this man of Asian descent aligns himself so passionately with the struggle of African man. Why/how he considers himself an African.
Yeah.
Right? So based on what I would have said before you answered, he said this commenter is his son, by the way. And asking the question to advance the conversation and allow the listeners to understand and identify with how they can also know themselves to be African. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, man, for sure.
But let me also say too that I have family who are white, European and so on. But I don't hide my blackness.
Right.
I don't hide my Africanness.
Right.
You know, if they can't deal with it,
Like
that's
them.
their issue. Because I have to deal with the fact that their ancestors oppressed my ancestors.
Yeah.
And I don't hold them personally responsible for it.
Yeah.
You know, and therefore they should appreciate that I am being honest with them. Me and say, Mr. So, lady, so, you know, that.
Yeah, that's a reparation.
But yes, they have to respect that I am just dealing with historical facts.
Yeah.
Me creating anything new.
Yeah.
That's in history books.
Yeah.
That they wrote, as a matter of fact. You know. So all my white friends and my white family and so on, I talk like them this way because I'm not ashamed to confront the issues with them.
Right.
You know, it some of them,
yeah,
just as I am hurt by what their ancestors did.
Yeah.
You know, so but I mean no disrespect to them. And in fact, I hope, I'm almost sure, but I hope I never disrespected any of them. I'm almost sure that I never did it.
Right.
But I hope I did.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
Nah, man. I'm glad to hear you online, man. That is important.
You see why I asked you to send me the link and you didn't
Yeah. That's how he messaged me. He said, send me the link. So I said, link?
Yeah.
You think it is Zoom we doing, man?
He nearly catapulted me with that question.
I said, remember, it's an interview, you know? He said, no, I'll have other people who want to view the show. I said, oh, because I didn't schedule the show yet. So usually what I'll do is on a Tuesday morning, I will go sit down with my breakfast and I will program, set it up, schedule the link so that all of the followers will get a notification.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I hope you would subscribe to the channel because we're trying to build the followers, you know, we're trying to build the subscriber list. You know, and however we could help in terms of getting the word out with regard to the exhibition, you know, because as I say, our thing is support. He said at the end of every show, support is an action word. You know, love is an action word. We go out and we do these things because if we don't do it, everybody else benefiting from us. You know?
Yes.
You know, it is an undisputable fact now that we are the world's largest consumers, the group. You understand? We spend the most, we buy the most, but we are always producing the least, you know. But I don't even think it's that we're producing the least. It's just that when we start producing, we do support
from one
enough.
another with the same
figure that we buy from others. You know what I mean? And I look at it all the time. I mean, I in the center this hurricane Polynubian experience, right? And I am seeing it every day where he bringing out new designs, and it has blown me away every time he bring out something new because I get vexed with it. You know, I say, but brother, what happened? You know what I mean? You have so much bring thing now, man. You know, and I've always told him too that his clothing line is more of he says it now, that is a way of life, right? But it is also statement. You know, you're able to wear something that will have somebody watching like, what are you really saying there, boy? You know, so it's not just a conversation starter, but it stimulates the mind. You know, some statements he has one called melanin, no bleach needed, right? Those kind of statements will agitate, right? And stimulate conversation, even in the person's mind with themselves. So they'll say, wow, maybe I should really start to wear that kind of clothes, boy. You know, and start seeking out now the black businesses to support. You understand? Because the business is there, no, it's not that they're not there. They're there, they're small. These boys and them going down Chagramas now, Roots Yard. Right? Roots Yard is one of the hubs for black business, just like we wait every year for ESC to put on the Pan-African Festival, where we could go there and experience these businesses. And now, you know, now I drive and I start to see these signs and I say, but wait, now these people was always here. I talk about people who I have never seen before. When I see them in the village, that's the only place I see them. But now I'm driving around, I see what's the name of these people, boy? I forget the name. They're on Anna Street.
Yes. And they're from Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big store.
Yeah.
With a woman or anything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Big store.
Her name is Josephine, as a matter of fact.
Yes. The business is.
I can't remember the name of the business right now.
Regal, big strong.
Yeah. And she have the mannequins coming down the stairs outside. Nice. And I said, what the hell is this? You know what I mean?
She's have a real best boot to the
Come on, bro.
Real
Come on. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it has irked me a little bit when I go to the village every year. The fact that even ourselves treating our businesses like flea market. You know what I mean? It's bottom. You know, just dream a little bigger, think a little bigger, put yourself out there. You know what I mean? You come to do business, you don't have a sign. You know, you have a little name, a little thing stick up on the wall with your name. And then after that, I can't find you nowhere. I stand up in front of the person in the business, you know, I pull it up on Instagram, I can't find it. Pull it up on Facebook, I can't find it. Because what happens is, when the events come around, the only place I can remember, and it's because we have a good relationship with Auntie Carol, right? It's Prindelas.
Okay, yeah.
You know, that's my go-to, right? But a lot of the things is my style. Sometimes she don't fit my style, you know, but I'll still wear it because that's what I could get. You know what I mean? My boy here is do some dashikis and things too, so I will wear his dashikis. You know, but what we look for the EWA Africa fashion show. Been there twice, and I'm telling you, after the show, I sit down in the crowd. That's the first time I sit down in the crowd, and as they announce the name, I pull it up on Instagram, I follow the page.
Oh, okay.
Pull it up on Facebook, I follow the page. You know, so that I'll keep seeing them. The algorithm will keep reminding me, hey,
yes.
Don't forget them.
Yeah.
You want beads, go to pay. You want dashiki, $10, and we give on a street. You know what I mean? So you said that the exhibition is now closed and it will be open again soon.
Yeah.
Right? Tell us now, like how soon, like when, I know you said, I think it's in November, October.
Well, November, there'll be another exhibition dealing with African History Month.
Right.
Yeah?
Right. Same place?
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to give me some money to go and rent someplace else, feel free. But I wouldn't even do that because people who are doing good work must not move out of the community they're doing the good work in. They must not do that.
You say that all the time.
Yeah. Especially when you have the space.
Yeah. He says it all
because
the time.
When you do that, all you're going to leave would be the negative images.
Yeah.
And the good images, or the so-called good images, will not be there. And therefore you abandon giving your community a good image and a good name. So I do intend to do that.
Right.
Yeah. You see, Che is my second son, my big son is Tao, right? And they both know that when I departed this earth, that building doesn't go to any of them. No. The only way they will get it is if they come and continue the work that I'm doing.
Wow.
Otherwise, the building goes to community use for work like this. You know. So they know that already.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
And I hope Che not only subscribe as you request to the channel, but he encourages his other friends to subscribe to the channel.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because the conversation is, I mean, we talk about all kind of things. I don't care what it is. We had a man who was Dr. Organic. He's do fruits and vegetables, and then we bring him when we was on Gael. We had a partner was making, when he passed on now,
Yeah, boy.
he was making flour
From all kind of
cassava and provision and things. Healthy flour. You know, what else we had, boy? Somebody who make juice.
You juice or one of them guys?
You had a juice man?
I can't remember that.
Oh, but we have so much episodes I'm losing track now, yes?
But we had, and it's wide ranging. It's not like one where a woman come and talk about menopause.
Yeah.
That's an important thing for for both men and women to understand.
Like exactly, because listening to the woman, like,
yeah, we trying to find somebody to talk about andropause, but nobody don't know what. You know, that's not even thing. We don't even know if it's a thing. They say it's a thing, but we don't know nobody who can come and talk about it. You know what I mean?
So they died it, and I tell them the thing is, there are a lot of things that affect our community. Everything is connected.
Yes, certainly. Everything.
Especially when it comes to and relates to the things that affect our community. So the fact that we have a whole set of businesses in our community that we don't support affects the community. Because if we start we're talking to somebody who was involved in Black Power when there was marching with the George Floyd thing in America. You know what stand out to me? Or they're marching in Black Boy, they're wearing Black Louis Vuitton, Black Prada, and be like, yo.
Well, they wear any black they could afford to wear. Same black Louis Vuitton, whatever it is they're talking about.
Like, or they're marching against white supremacy, where white people paying big money for it. That's why I tell them, Black Lives Matter never mean nothing to me.
And I could understand that very
I'm gonna tell you
well.
why it don't mean nothing to me. Even before we go into what it's supposed to be, is 400 and something years later, you really feel standing up and telling them Black Lives Matter. Can't you tell them why?
Yeah.
400 and something years later.
Yeah.
You think they go now here?
Yeah.
Mr. Heinemann, I understand what you're saying. No.
No, but I understand where you're coming from. But it is important to do that. Because apart from that happening 400 and something years now, the world is only exposed to the viciousness and the brutality of that killing when they brought it on news. Not just news, not the
social media.
Social media, yes. So you saw what was taking place. Yeah. For example, if you look at the Guardian and Express and the newspaper we have here now, and the reporting on what's going on, the massacre that's taking place in Gaza, you wouldn't have much to say about it. When you look at Al Jazeera, what they bring in and you see the stark vividness of it, you must feel how, you know, if that was happening, if we had that kind of exposure, when the whole of Europe went into America and were displacing the North American Indians in the same way, you know, that's not new. They place them in the same way by bombing them, attacking them in the night, poisoning the water, giving them clothes with poisoners and so on. That's the same things that are taking place there. You know? So I always say that the United States of America is a replica of the European Union. All them Europeans going across there.
That's little brother.
Yeah.
That's little brother.
You know? So, but the thing is, we are, as Granny and Mr. say, what I do see, I do hurt. You know, so that George Floyd thing and the Black Lives Matter movement that it spurred was important. You know, we may feel like how, but the fact is, given the times we are living in now, somebody had to open the mouth, and that was a nice mouth opening thing there. So I would suggest you give it a rethink.
Me,
I think it's just the title. He
not just the title for me. For me is that I equate that to why I tell the unions and them here, like, you can't get me to go and march on board with war money right now. Because this is not
and
1970.
someday we'll overcome.
This 1970, marching and thing was the way to go based on the system. But today, when we're living in a time-driven world, what it is I'm marching for, I'm marching because I want more money. And the same union, I know. I'm saying the tactics. Your branch. There's 10 people. Let's take care of the thing effectively. Only one person going to work in each other. Right, next week, Tuesday, or make sure 9 people think. That's how we're going to get things done. We're going to stand up and clap.
No.
Not going to work today.
That is why, in 1970, a guy by the name of Warren Armstrong, writing about the march, the protest in the Catholic Cathedral, he said, if the protesters had walked and waved the flag as usual, no big thing. If they had walked and sang the protest song as usual, no big thing. If they had walked and waited till their feet burn out and the soles of their feet mash up and so on, no big thing. If they had gone home with their voice hoarse and thing as usual, no big thing. But they took a different course of action that changed not just Trinidad and Tobago, the whole Caribbean. You know, you all must listen to Chogda's and play it probably sometime. Chogda's song about the message of 1970. This is very, very important. You know, and every now and again you should try to play some of those positive calypsos of 1970 within your programs.
Well, to be really honest, this is not the setup.
Okay.
This is temporary. We waited to buy a laptop to get us back to where we used to be.
Cool.
We would broadcast and we would play. So we would have breaks.
Cool.
10-15 minutes in, we have a break, we run a song.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean? And we have a nice playlist with all them things crazy in time to come. Black Stalin, it's no Duke, Black is Beautiful. What's the Stalin boy? Black men stop killing each other. I forget the name of the song.
But now we had one of them here. We had Valentino.
Brother Valentino, Duke.
The roaring
70s.
Come on.
As a matter of fact, Valentino and Kitchener sang songs about 1970 saying the same thing in different tones and so on, so that Valentino would have said, we were marching for equality, black unity, and black dignity, while Kitchener would say, tell them what you want is black dignity. You know, so guys understood what we were about in 1970.
Right.
We weren't about what they were saying, burning down here and burning down there. As a matter of fact, I believe, and I could be wrong, subject to correction, but I believe that some of the burning down, the establishment set people among the demonstrators to do that kind of burning
I
down.
believe that thing too.
Of course,
you know,
of course.
Right?
So,
because I tell them today too. Like, while when we say cultural revolution, I just want to add to that as much as they say we need a revolutionary mind, right? Because there's not no way we could win well, I shouldn't say win, because the idea is not necessarily to win when it comes to revolution and change. They will get, if they feel that the army and the police here is not enough, and you're upsetting democratic rule,
they will send for
first for CARICOM, they send CARICOM, and then they send for international help. And thing, right? I don't think that's the way to go at all. Unless they're trying to use the military arm of the government to suppress you, well, then we have no choice. But for us to start that, I personally,
it doesn't make sense. We spend up in mother's granny would say.
Right, that. But I tell them, I say, we thinking process. It's like my daughter trying to accept at 8 years old that everything we do, as much as possible, has to be done by black people. But even how other people do not say yes, but they have people that will buy them without even thinking. We have to be able to do the same thing. Because we could talk all this nice talk till we mouth dry. And you're not fight us about bottle of water. We need the money.
But you gotta now check my time that you're not going to be closing off just now.
In the next couple of minutes.
4 minutes.
Right. So let me just point out a couple of things here. Right. You see this picture and this statement here put out by they will see, right? This is by NJAC. From slavery to slavery. That picture is from 1970 of an Indian brother dragging the chains to load the sugar cane onto the thing they carry to the factory. And at that time, the industrial court outlawed the use of this chain system to load the canes onto the factory here. But in 1970, it was still continuing. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So when we wrapping up, we'd like to ask.
I just want to read this thing here. And a brother who came to the exhibition, right? I'll try to read as quickly as I could without losing the essence of it. He said, on Saturday, 20th of April, I turned up at the opening of the exhibition on independence and the 1970 uprising created by Mario Lewis and Chi Kamose, resident of Mova. The exhibition was not in a prestigious building, exhibition hall or gallery. It was in the underhouse of Chi's house. Chi is the founder of the Interfaith, an NGO for human development and empowerment. According to a statement from the curators, the exhibition explores the link between an independent night party where the attendees didn't appear to grasp the proper meaning of being independent, and subsequent attempts by Daga and significant other members of the society then to find an answer for how to achieve true and meaningful independence. The exhibition also explores some different trigger points leading to 1970, and an analysis of the political and economic systems strangling the lifeblood of the people and country, leading to the movement being grounded in black power. Because part of the exhibition thing I asked, why did we ground the movement in the revolution in black power instead of Marxism and socialism and all the other isms? Why did we ground it in black power? And I put up the evidence that shows why we did it. Good?
Right.
The opening began with Olakile Masitunji. You all know that, brother? Yes. Performing an Orisha blessing with libation and chants, explaining in his usual clear and articulate manner what he was doing. The exhibition consisted of a few ceiling-to-floor sheets of hand-painted graffiti-like lists of names and headlines on cardboard sheets and on the bare wall. There were one or two large panels of newspaper clippings and information about the revolution and the events leading up to it. On the floor were striking facades of the Red House in red, the Holy Trinity Cathedral in black, together with a few artifacts from the time. But it wasn't the Holy Trinity Cathedral, it's the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception. That's
on Independence Day.
Yeah, good. For those old enough to remember, much of the exhibition served to refresh memory and blow on the embers of political fire buried by time. But probably the most informative parts for me were the detailed accounts of the various pressure groups and committees that may be what the curators refer to as trigger points leading to 1970. I had not seen this background information gathered together so clearly before. And the record it provides is invaluable in building and understanding how events built through an accumulation of the efforts and analysis of disparate groups of activists, students, and citizens. You know, part of the 1970 thing was the student movement, like I told you, where it came out of North and so on. In 2010, 1970, Remembering a Revolution, a film by Alex de Vertal and Elizabeth Top, did a great deal of heavy lifting, in gathering information. The interviews with key figures, many who were since passage like Dagger, Basil Davis, and Teddy Belgrave, and really seen footage into a unique, riveting, and invaluable 2-hour document. But that would have been seen once or twice and vanished into the archive. This exhibition offers the opportunity to revisit and study in a more concrete way. It attempts to reach out to a younger audience over half a century after the revolution, an audience who should have no memory for those events except through the stories of elders. It attempts to put facts clearly and concisely in an accessible and attractive manner, and it does so simply and ingenuously to anyone who makes it to the exhibition before the end of before it ends on May 31st. That's when it was supposed to end.
It was
supposed to, the second half was supposed to close. And you know.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, right? So, you know, this is what he was saying. And it points to, this statement points to the importance of information, you know, being accessed by people, being able to read what they was saying, what was being thing, and absorbing it to understand the history.
Yes.
And that is why the future exhibitions must begin to press the state to make this history of ourselves part of the curriculum in the schools and the national discussion. So we begin to know how we reach here, what we did, and how we could. As a matter of fact, I want to point out to all of us who are within the sphere now, that there are some things we can do to achieve this Black dignity thing. And let me just check back to 2013 when I was talking to the Legal Aid Authority and so on, and talking to them about my involvement in the struggle and some of the things that they could do to thing. And not realizing that in December of that year, the United Nations had declared a decade, International Decade for People of African Descent. I didn't know that then. It's when I was getting disenchanted with my work at the Ministry of Social Development in 2019, around there. You know, and I wrote to one of my managers then, I feeling unfulfilled in this job, man. He said, "Chill, maybe God calling you, so you try to arrange a session for me to come and meet Jesus." So I said, okay, in my mind, okay. And I wrote another manager who I worked with before, and he said, "Chill, you can't leave that job now. Nobody else deal with the people like how you deal with them." So I stayed on for another year, 2 years and a half, I can't remember. So, but while I holding on, I began to do some things I want to do. I would like, and then I came on this thing about the United Nations declaring this decade. But I didn't know this. But the critical things about that declaration by the United Nations, two things. One, they wanted to restore to African people their human rights. That I understand and I could agree with. That's a simple little thing to do. 100%. But then they also say they want to restore to African people their sense of dignity. They wanted to restore their dignity to them. And I asked her, how are you going to restore people dignity? You're going to say, look, get them a gift wrapping and say, here's your dignity. You know? You're going to get them a platter and say, here's your dignity. Be sorry we take it from you. Here, look back at dignity. You know? It's impossible. Very impossible. But it tells us that we are the ones who have to reclaim our dignity. Nobody could give us back our dignity. We have to reclaim that for ourselves. They could talk about wanting to give us back our dignity as much as they want, and they're lying in any case. Right? But, so we have to reclaim our dignity. One of the ways we can do it, the simplest way we can do it, is each of us who really want to reclaim our dignity or participate in reclaiming our dignity, it's a change our names.
Change your name.
Right? If we can't afford to pay legally for it to be done, get an African name that people could call you in the meantime until you could afford it. Because you might not have the money now.
Yeah.
But tomorrow both of them might win the lotto together.
Aye.
You could go and do something.
Yeah.
You understand? Go ahead and do something, you know.
Yeah, we got sponsored.
Right? So get an African name.
Right.
Give your children, you might say stop making, but still give them an African name.
Yeah.
Help them to wear something African.
Right.
You know, that so on. Another important thing is help them to learn to want to read and want to research the positive things about Africa. I'm not saying don't look at some of the off-key things, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But don't let it be the center of your universe.
No.
The center of your universe must be the positive things that came out of our people. Let's look at that. Instead of, you know, so our experience as a people has been that we could do a million things right.
Yeah.
And one little thing we do wrong. That's how they define us.
Yeah.
You know. So we have to tell our children, you know, look for the bright things. The negative things, pay attention to it, yes, but don't dwell on that. Because that keeps you from recognizing the good things.
Agreed.
You know.
Agreed.
That's another of the ways we can begin to reclaim our dignity. And let's learn to search.
Yeah.
Let's read.
Yeah.
You know, find
With
books.
social media now, it's so easy. I mean, I follow a page called Africa Unlocked. I follow another one called is it African Stream? Africa Stream on Instagram, where they real information. You know what I mean? And then they give you where to go and look for it and what's so you can follow and you know, enrich your mind a little bit. You know, and stop going on here, say.
Yeah,
stop going on here.
So in that effort to reclaim our dignity, we have to do these positive things for ourselves and about ourselves.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to forever remain enslaved in not just physical, there's nothing to say they wouldn't take us back to physical enslavement, you know. But we could at least begin to break the chains of our minds and help our generations to come to live a free So that's
Mortel say I think that the Black Power ideology can work, but the tactics need updating.
Of course. Yes, of course.
And I think that's what Baba Winston Sweet was alluding to the night in the hall. Your son say, while I understand that this is African in nature, I would suggest considering taking on a name that has meaning to you, be it African, Indian, Asian, or otherwise. The goal should be respect and dignity. Well,
yes, I
will never tell somebody, as I say, I always tell people, I will never do what the Caucasian do, which is tell you have to be African. So when I talk, and I need to say it every now and again, I talk to us. I never promote violence against anybody. Right? But I promote self-defense because I do not believe that self-defense is violence. Right? So if I say, well, we need to change our names, I'm talking to us as African people. Those of us that would identify as African people, because what we have also met doing this is that we've also met people who look like us but don't identify as African. That's cool. I tell them, no problem with that. Marcus Garvey tell reason everybody going back on them.
Of course, yeah.
So, no problem with that. So in this particular message here is to African people who identify as African people. You can't be a proud African named Marlon. In 2024. That would have worked where we didn't have access to certain things in reality. We access. The next part of this too, that I can attest to, is respect.
Yeah.
We have a lot of us, because we don't understand the power of reclaiming a name, we don't respect people who do it enough to call them by the name that they changed.
I would refuse to answer them.
Yeah.
No, that's not my name.
Right? So is that time?
No, let me say one other thing.
Yeah.
So my name, I got Chi going and do research in the library when I wanted to change my name.
Right.
And Chi was a minister in one of those Chinese dynasties, spelled CHI, just the way it is here now. And he was teaching about family values and how to live and that kind of thing. So this is the kind of person I want to be.
Right.
So I adopted Chi. The other name I have, it was an American Indian named Wokini. So Wokini is really my first name.
Okay.
And Wokini is Chi Kamose,
yeah.
Yeah. And Kamose is an African name. It was a pharaoh who tried to unite Lower and Upper Egypt. And I saw myself as trying to unite Indian and African people in this society. That's how it come thing. But like I say, years later, I would see Chi as an African name too. You know, meaning the same thing as I mean in Chinese. You could determine your destiny by how you live.
Yeah.
And just wanted to make that point about the names and so on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And I really wish that all who we in contact with, we could at least hint to them this question of changing their names so that they could begin to reclaim their dignity and teach their children and the other people around them to do the same. That's how the cultural revolution continues, you know, into the future. Yeah, to get out of this thing.
Mendoza now jumping over on today.
Well, Mendoza, man. He was with my DNS,
right? More life into that to everybody watching, you know, we'll always say, love is an action word, support is an action word. We can't talk love, we can't talk support.
Yeah.
It's things we have to actually do.
That's right.
Be safe out there, see we are rains for a little while, or be safe on the roads.
Yeah.
Because over the weekend the accident rate went ridiculously up.
Yeah.
You know, let we be smart about it on the roads out there. He said he was in a meeting, Mendoza.
All right, we'll accept that.
Yeah, from you. Let we live in love. We can't grow if we in fear. We can't grow if we in hatred. And right now we need growth in our community. So we do the thing. Baba, thank you for coming through.
Let me tell you, I'm glad he
right.
He already joined.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Che, I'm very glad you joined.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And probably when the time comes for the other exhibition, we either bring it back or by that time we're able to come down and
cool, no problem.
and do something in that.
Yeah.
Right. So more life and good health to all you.
Yeah, man.
We go link again, we black all you.
We out.
All right.